couple more minutes. I think my camera's crooked, so I'm going to straighten it up a little bit. See if that's better. We're going to start with a chair today, and we're going to use a chair in our practice. We won't be in the chair the whole time, but we're going to use it. So if this is your first time, welcome. This is a practice that the point is to make us feel better when we get up off our mat than we did coming in. Sort of a couple of ground rules. Don't do anything that doesn't feel right for your body. If I invite you to do something that doesn't feel good, then please don't do it. Yoga Journal is not coming today. So this practice is for us. The object is that we feel better when we're done than we did in the beginning. And there's no need to push any of the poses. You'll feel an opening, and that's plenty. That's enough to do. There's no need to push. Don't worry. Slow is good. And we're going to try and coordinate everything with the breath. Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. Find a comfortable seated position in your chair if that's what you like. Feet are grounded, hands are resting on your thigh. Close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. Find your seat bones. Allow your pelvis to come to a neutral place. Breath is easy. Shoulders are relaxed. Arms are heavy. Your head is light. Allow your belly to come back towards the back body. Let your thighs be heavy. Arms are heavy. Hands are resting comfortably on your thighs. Just appreciate this time that you've set aside for yourself, for self-care, feeling better. And open your eyes, interlace your fingers, palms away, arms overhead, and gently stretch from side to side, grounding that opposite side seat bone, opening the opposite side ribs, feeling some opening on that opposite hip. Just allowing yourself to begin to soften in your body. Feeling your shoulder blades move slightly on the back of your rib cage. Letting the movements be soft and soothing. And release your hands. Hold the back of your chair. Roll the collarbones long. Arch your back. Look up. Shoulder blades together in the back. Chin pushes out. Looking like the lady on the front of a ship. The Rolls-Royce lady. Feeling the heart center open. And release. Hands on your knees, and we're going to do a seated cat and cow with the breath. So here's the movement. So with an inhale, arch the back, look up, pulling on your knees, pulling the shoulder blades together. And then with an exhale, push away, shoulder blades come towards your ears, arms come close together in the front, looking at your belly. Inhale, look up, cow, pulling on your knees, shoulder blades together in the back. Exhale, push away, cat. Speaking of cat. Inhale to cow. Exhale to cat. Really feeling your thoracic spine getting involved here. Your thoracic spine is the rib cage portion of your spinal column. Sometimes we do this completely from the lumbar spine, and that produces a lot of strain in that area. If we can have mobility through the whole spine, that's a lot healthier for our backs. And those of us who are of an age need to take particular care of our backs. So you move slowly and mindfully with the breath here. So really pulling on the rib cage, on the knees, shoulder blades together when you go into cow, and make sure that this action comes from opening the heart more than squashing the back of this lumbar spine area. So really feeling like this is happening mostly in the rib cage. And for most people, that's an area that can get stuck. Particularly the upper thoracic area, just below your neck, that often gets stuck. People who spend a lot of time at keyboards, which would include me. And just this simple action can help your whole spine feel better. Isn't that interesting? Come back to neutral, release your hands, and just notice how you feel. So what I'm feeling is a lot more area to breathe, that my whole rib cage feels looser and more available to movement. All right, and we're going to increase the movement in that upper spine area. So I'm going to move my feet out just a little bit, about 4 inches. Take my left elbow to my right knee. Right hand is on my right thigh, and just rest down. So this is a twist that's primarily in the upper spine area. So usually we do this when we're on hands and knees, thread the needle, but here it is as a seated pose. So the pressing with the right hand is important to help finish the twist in the upper spine. You're letting the left upper arm be the primary driver for this movement, but the right upper arm is also important. Doesn't that feel nice? And then press up. Moving slowly, because anytime we're opening the spine and it gets in a more open position, we have to be really careful because it's in a more open position that it may not be as familiar with. So now I take my right arm to my left knee, using my left arm to complete the twist and petting the cat on the way. That's very important. So this is Yoga with Joyful, and this is Joyful. That's her name, because she is joyful. Yeah. So really feeling that opening in the shoulder, in the upper spine, and noticing that one side is always easier than the other, or more familiar, and the other side is not as easy and is less familiar. That's the way it goes. And then press back up gently and notice how you feel. So these are very simple movements, and yet simple movements can be very effective. All right, now we're going to do a different twist, a more traditional twist, and this one is going to include the entire spine from the tailbone up to, but not including the neck. So I'm taking my left hand to the right thigh, avoiding the cat, and my right elbow I'm hooking on the back of the chair. If your chair doesn't have some place to hook, you can just hold on to it. But the twist originates deep within the pelvis, comes through the lumbar spine, up through the thoracic spine, and ends at the neck. Okay, so you don't turn your head here. And the reason for that is once you turn your head, once you turn your neck, your neurologic system says, twist is done. And with each inhale, maybe the spine gets a little taller. And with each exhale, maybe a little bit more twist. So in this version, you're using your arms for leverage, so be very careful. You don't want to really force the twist. Inhale, the spine gets longer. Exhale, maybe a little bit more twist. Inhale, taller. Exhale, twist. And with an inhale, return to center very slowly, carefully, mindfully. Notice how you feel. Isn't that interesting? All right, now we do the other side. So the right hand to the left knee, left hand behind, letting the arms assist with a little bit of leverage. Inhale, the spine gets taller. Exhale, maybe a little bit more twist. Inhale, the spine gets taller. Exhale, maybe more twist, maybe not. It's not a problem. Yoga Journal is not coming. This is about exploring the body that you brought with you to your mat today. It's not about looking like someone else or matching the pictures in a book. This is about us, each of us individually, feeling better when we complete our practice than we did at the beginning of the practice. And slowly return to center. Rest your hands on your knees and we return to cat and cow. And you're going to notice if it's any different right now because we did some more openings after we did that. So inhale to cow. Sorry, exhale to cow. Inhale to cat. Inhale to cow, pulling on the knees. Shoulder blades down. Exhale to cat, pushing on the knees. Shoulder blades away from each other. Spine, the pelvis rocks back. Inhale, pelvis rocks forward, looking up, opening the heart center. Exhale, push back, cat pose. And notice if this sequence feels different than it did the first time we did it. Isn't that interesting? We come to the exact same poses, but we're in a different place, and come back to neutral and just shake it out a little bit. All right, now we're going to do seated pigeon, which looks like just sitting cross-legged. So I'm going to take my left ankle on my right knee, and I'm going to use my hands to anchor my foot a little bit, flex the foot to protect the knee. And you're just going to allow gravity to open that knee to the outside. You're not going to push it at all. You're not going to put weight on it because this is a fairly strong hip opener. You probably notice it's a real big opener on the outer hip there. You may feel it somewhere else, but for most people it's the outer hip. And as women, we often do not use this seated position. I mean, I grew up in the 60s and 70s and we had mini skirts, and you don't sit like this in a mini skirt. And I was trained early on, women don't sit like this. And part of the consequence of that is women tend to have tighter hips. How about that? So I'm not in a mini skirt. You're not looking at my mini skirt. And I can allow my body to explore this movement, explore this opening, and learn to enjoy having a little bit more freedom in the pelvis area. And we're going to be here for a number of breaths because the longer we allow this soft tissue to open, the more likely it is to stay. The hips are surrounded by dense and mostly inelastic ligaments and tendons, and they respond slowly to openings. The good news is once they release, they tend to stay released. So that's a good thing. And again, this is a movement that we don't do a lot in real life, so it tends to be a tighter movement. And you may not look this open, and that's fine. You're going to be wherever you are. I can't look through my camera and see you. It's just an exploration. And notice how this hip feels, because the other one is going to feel different. Better or worse, I don't know, but it's going to be different. And that's because we inhabit human bodies, and human bodies tend not to be symmetrical. All right, now with great loving kindness, lift that leg up carefully and help it back down. It was just in a very vulnerable position. You're going to help it be soft. Let it be very grateful that that hip supports you. All right, now bring the right ankle to the left knee. Flex the foot to protect the knee. Allow the weight of the leg to begin to open. You can see this one's a little tighter for me. So it's a lot of dense ligaments and tendons, and also fascia. Fascia is an interesting tissue. We have fascia everywhere in our bodies, and it both connects and separates muscles, tissues, organs. Our whole body is in a bag of fascia, and fascia contains most of the sensory receptors in our body. When you tear a muscle, what hurts is mostly fascia that's been torn. When you break a bone, what hurts mostly is the fascia that's been disrupted. And so there's a whole lot of sensory receptors in the fascia. And this pose, like most yoga poses, is allowing the fascia to open a little bit. The other interesting thing about fascia is it's very thin tissue. So you think of a tissue paper, when you pull the skin off a chicken, what is holding the skin to the rest of the chicken is fascia. So that white connective tissue that comes apart is fascia. And when fascia is torn, it's very thin, it tears easily. And when it begins to heal, it sticks back together to whatever it's close to next and forms adhesions. And the adhesions are helpful if it sticks fascia to fascia where it belonged, but sometimes the fascia will stick to underlying tissue or muscle or organs or things that it doesn't belong to be stuck to, and it can hold your body in a shortened position. So a lot of these poses, we're just inviting the fascia also to open in a very polite way. So we don't want to force it. We don't want to hurt it. We want to allow it to stretch in its own time. So again, really with great compassion, return that leg back to its position and just wiggle around a little bit and notice how you feel. Is that interesting? These are very simple movements, okay? These are not complicated. No one's going to take a picture of it and put it in a yoga journal and say, ooh, ah. And yet they help us live a more comfortable life. You know, this is the body that we get for this go-round, and we need to take care of it. Okay, now we're going to go back to arms, upper arms in particular. We're going to start with cactus arms. I've got some cacti in here, but they don't do this. So you think saguaro arms, okay? So here's cactus arms. And you would like to have the elbows be about shoulder height and the forearms to be perpendicular to the ground. And your shoulders may not do that, and that's fine. So you go to where you say, oh, gee. Now, I promise you, these are your heaviest arms, okay? They're going to get super heavy in just a very short period of time. So you don't need to be pushing to find this. Just gravity is going to help you find this. Your arms are going to get super heavy and super tired, and sorry, not sorry. Okay, now we go to reverse cactus arms, and you may not go very far. I don't go very far, okay, for reverse cactus arms. If I keep my elbows up, I have a lot of rotator cuff scarring, that fascia thing, so I don't go down very far. And you're not going to go past pain, okay? So you find a place that your arms say, that's enough, and you say, okay, that's enough. And then we come back up, cactus arms. And suddenly that feels easy, huh? You see birds out there? There are birds out there. And then reverse cactus arms. Cactus arms. Now fold your elbows into your body and then release your hands to your thighs. And shake it around a little bit. Notice how you feel. Notice the temperature of your hands. Okay, when we release tension in the shoulder or upper back area, it increases the circulation and your hands can feel warmer. Okay, this one is super simple, very supported. We're going to draw the right arm across the body and support it underneath the elbow. Okay, so you're just drawing the arm across. This is not a twist, so the upper body doesn't move. But notice how that starts to draw the upper trapezius, the upper mid-back muscle open. And because you're supporting it with that left arm underneath it, the shoulder doesn't have to work too hard. So this is more of a passive stretch, passive release. And then let that arm relax. And then draw the left arm across, supporting it with the right hand. Letting the shoulder be down. A very simple release. And then allow that arm to relax down, hands on your knees, and we return to cat and cow. So inhale to cow. Exhale to cat. Inhale to cow, pulling the hands. Exhale, pushing away, rounding the back, letting the pelvis come back. Inhale, pelvis comes forward, heart is open. Exhale to cat. Inhale to cow. And come back to neutral. So you just notice that little things change as we repeat this. Okay, now we're going to do another hip opener. So I'm going to scooch all the way over to the left side of my chair so my left seat bone is not quite supported. I'm going to hold on to the chair, either on the outside of the chair, the seat and the back, it doesn't matter, so that you're really supported. And let that knee drop down. Now, I'm pretty tall and my knee could touch the floor. That's not what I want. I want a passive gravity stretch to open the front of the quad. My foot is flat, so the upper part of my foot is flat on the floor to help stretch the top of the ankle out. My pelvis comes back. Okay, so I really want to allow the pelvis to be neutral. Excuse me. What are you eating? She can't eat this leaf. Sorry. Sorry about that. So really allowing that to soften. Sorry about that. She ate one of these leaves from the begonias, and oh, by the way, they're poisonous to cats. Who knew? So we're allowing the quadricep to open here. And the quadricep has to open before we can get to the psoas, which is a much deeper muscle. And really allowing that pelvis to come back. Belly button comes towards the spine. Upper body is neutral, pelvis is neutral, back is neutral. So again, we're releasing the muscle, but we're also releasing the fascia. The fascia holds or binds together and also separates the skin to the muscles to each other. So your quadricep means forehead. And so it's actually 4 separate muscles that work as a unit. So each of the 4 heads of the quadricep is bound together and also separated by fascia. We're allowing that fascia to open. Now to come out, we're going to lean over to the right, draw that leg forward, bring it back up. And notice how your two legs feel right now. Okay, so we've done one leg, but not the other. They're different, huh? Okay, so now we scooch over to the right side of the chair. Hold on to the chair someplace. Let that right leg come out behind you. Foot is flat, so the top of the foot is on the floor. The knee is heavy, so my knee is almost to the floor on this side. So I'm going to come back over on the chair so that so that my knee doesn't touch the floor. I want it to hang. Pelvis comes back, and notice that one side, that side of the pelvis wants to draw forward and the other side is more open. That's the way bodies work. You know, and as riders, we like to be as symmetrical as possible. And we're always aiming for symmetry in ourselves and also in our horses. And knowing that we're not going to achieve complete symmetry, we want to go in that direction. And the other element for which I find yoga particularly valuable is self-knowledge. What does my body do? How does my body operate? How can I help my body operate more easily, more fluently, with better strength, with more flexibility, with better balance? Hello. I want to be like a cat. I want to be really flexible like a cat. So you can tie her in knots because she's all squishy. Yeah. It's good to be a cat. Now I'm going to bob with the cat. So to come out, lean over to the left, draw that leg forward, come back into the middle of your chair, and notice how you feel. Okay, so this is not going to be a completely seated practice, even though we have a chair. We're going to use the chair now. Come to standing. Bring the chair out in front of you with the seat facing away. And I'm going to come to a little angle so maybe you can see a little better. So we're going to do Parshvottanasana, which means intense side stretch. And as far as I can tell, there's no side stretch. It's a forward bend. So I'm about arm length away from my chair. I'm going to bring the right leg forward. So now I'm at the chair. Left leg is back with the foot pointing forward. And I'm going to fold at the hip hinge towards the chair. And depending on your both legs are straight, and depending on your flexibility, you might be on the back of the chair, you might be on the seat of the chair. If you're really flexible, you can turn the chair around and be with your elbows on the seat of the chair. But notice that it can be a hamstring stretch, it can be a piriformis stretch. And that depends on your body and where you're tight. And it might be different on each side. So you just notice where it is right now with that right leg forward, left leg back. Pelvis is straight towards the chair, okay? Both feet are grounded. Are you helping? You're very helpy today. So my back is flat, okay? Pelvis is flat. You know, the general instruction is, could I put a tea cup on top of your back, on top of your pelvis? All right, to come out, just draw yourself up. Feet come together. Shake it out a little bit. Notice how you feel. And then bring the left leg forward. Right leg is back. Both feet point forward. Folding at the hip hinge of the front leg. Coming to wherever you wish. And noticing how this side is different than the other. So when I had the right leg forward, I was feeling it on the hamstring on the left. And with the left leg forward, I'm feeling it on the hamstring on the left. So the same leg. And you'll feel whatever you feel. It's fine. So yoga is a process of exploring you. You know, what does your body do? And can I help can I help my body feel more comfortable today? It's not about achieving a particular goal. It's not about, there's no competition. There's no competition with yourself. You know, my practice has evolved over time. I've been teaching almost 20 years. And, you know, I'm not as flexible as I used to be, and I'm okay with that. But I want to be more flexible right now than I was, you know, an hour ago. None of us get out of this body alive, so I want to keep my body as comfortable as possible for as long as possible. That's my goal. And then draw yourself up, shake it out. Let your shoulders be long. Okay, now I'm going to turn the chair so the seat is facing me and out in front, and you should be able to see this. So now I'm a little bit farther back, and we're going to do a simple forward bend. So again, folding at the hip hinge, coming forward, reaching for this chair seat. That's it. So this is a supported forward fold, Uttanasana. Shoulder blades are together and facing down towards the waist. So this is a hamstring stretch, okay? Supposed to be. My back is pretty flat. Because I have the chair in front of me, I've taken balance out of this pose for now. So I can just allow my body to relax within the forward fold. Both knees are not locked straight, but pretty straight. Micro bend in the knees. Protects your low back, protects your knees. And to come out, walk towards the seat of the chair and come up. Now we're going to do another forward fold, and this one is for your piriformis. So our seated pigeon was for piriformis, and this one is also for piriformis. I'll be a little bit off center so you can see. So I'm going to be a little bit closer to the chair. So closer than arm length apart. See how my feet are together? Now I'm going to cross my right leg in front of the left. Come forward from the hip hinge and take support from the chair wherever you feel like it. And so this increases the stretch in the piriformis, which is a little muscle in the back of your pelvic area. And it's the culprit in sciatic pain. When the piriformis is tight, in many people, the sciatic nerve runs through the piriformis. So if the piriformis is tight, it squishes the sciatic nerve and creates sciatica, which is unfun if you've ever had it. And if you've never had it, this is one way to prevent it from occurring. So both legs are straight, passive stretch. And then come up. Uncross your legs, stretch it out. And now bring the left leg in front of the right. And again, folding from the hip hinge, both feet stay grounded, coming forward any amount, and understanding that none is an amount, okay? And then draw yourself up, uncross your legs, shake it out. Okay, this one is an outer hip strengthener. Okay, and just so we're all clear, your outer hip is very weak. Okay, so this is going to be, it's a weak muscle. So I'm going to put the chair off to my left. Make sure it's stable because I'm going to use it for balance. Ground through my left leg. Lift the right leg out to the side. And you can do this without holding on if you wish. But this outer right hip, this movement is a weak movement. We don't do this movement very often. And you can do it as a balance pose, that's fine. Or you can use the chair for balance, that's also fine. Make sure the pelvis stays neutral. Now, this action is weak, and it's also a strengthener for the standing hip. You probably noticed that. So both hips are going to get tired here, and that's fine. Pelvis stays really neutral. Tucking your butt under. Drawing the heart center open. Isn't that interesting? Sounded so easy. And then let that leg come down, shake both legs out, move the chair to the other side. Find your balance and lifting the left leg. And I'm not as good at balance this direction, so I may not last very long, and that's okay. There we go. There we go. There we go. So really stabilizing that right hip and strengthening the left hip. And it doesn't matter how high up you go, any amount is great. Even if you're still toe down, they're still going to get some benefit there. Really working the balance, working your stabilizers, it's all good. And then let that leg come down, shake it out. Notice how you feel. You know, we're coming towards the end of the practice, and so hopefully you feel pretty good. So now we bring the chair back onto your mat, and you're going to come take a seat again. And we're going to look at seated pigeon again, which is Ekapada Raja Kapotasana. You will not be tested on this. So bring the left ankle on the right knee, flexing the foot to protect your knee. Allowing gravity to draw that left knee down. And just notice if there's any difference than the first time we did this pose. Even if the outward form isn't different, it may feel different inside. And it may not, and that's fine too. Just notice. That's really all that's important, is paying attention to what's going on in your body. And then inviting your body to have a little bit more freedom. And then with great loving kindness, release that foot back down. Shake it out. Notice that all of the poses that we've done today are very simple, uncomplicated poses. And yet, they make a big impact on our body. They make us, allows me to feel more free and open. So again, just allowing gravity to draw that leg out and down. So in my body, this hip is now a whole lot more open than it was the first time we did this pose. And I didn't push anything. I'm just allowing things to open at their own time. And now with great loving kindness, draw that leg back down. And now we go back to another pose that we did early on, which is just thread the needle. So left elbow towards the right knee. Just allowing a little twist there. And again, noticing how this is different than the first time we did this pose. We're not going to hold it as long. It's okay. Just a little bit of opening, just inviting. And mostly noticing what's going on. And then drawing up. And then left elbow, right elbow to the left knee. Just noticing, allowing. And come up. All right, so now we're going to open the knees out to the side. So there's this big opening here, and you come forward between your knees and let your hands rest on the floor. And if you don't get to the floor, then hold your shins. That's fine. Allow your head to soften down. Now, just a fair warning, this lowers your blood pressure, okay? So when we come up, we're going to come up very slowly. All right, so now begin to walk your hands up. Come up slowly, head comes up last. Bring your knees about closer together, about hip width apart. Let your hands rest on your thighs. And close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. We're going to do a seated Shavasana today. So just allow your breath to be easy. Eyes are closed. Let your brain rest in the bottom of your skull. Breath is easy. Facial features are soft. Throat is open. Jaw slightly parted. Neck is easy. Shoulder blades are heavy. Feel your ribs moving up and down, in and out with your breath. Allow your belly to be soft. Organs are relaxed. Lower back is wide and flat. Feel your two seat bones even on your chair. Allow your hips to be soft. Thighs are heavy. Feet are grounded. Arms are heavy. Hands are grounded. Just allow yourself to feel the changes that you've made in your body through your practice today. And thank your body for allowing you to have a physical practice today. And return to the sensation of the breath. Feel the in-breath nourishing your body. And with each exhale, release that which is no longer needed. Inhale, nourishment, prana, energy. Exhale, peace into the world. Notice how your body feels after your practice today. Enjoy the sensation of integration throughout your whole body. And now bring your hands to heart center. Bow your head to your heart. I honor the place within you where the entire universe exists. I honor the place within you of peace, of joy, of light, and of love. I honor the place within you where, if you are in that place in you, and I'm in that place in me, there can be only one of us, Namaste. Rub your palms together to generate warmth. Place your palms over your closed eyes. Open your eyes into the darkness and return your hands to heart center. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me. May your whole day be full of light. Thank you so much for coming. I hope it was good. Let me know what you think about your practice. Thank you. Thank you so much.